This happened years ago, but I've always wondered if I was in the wrong here, since it's now affected my own children, and I and my husband have made certain life choices because of this. My biological father came to my wedding, this happened years ago, and got offended I danced with my stepdad during the combined father-daughter/mother-son dance. He also got offended my grandmother was the one to walk me down the aisle and give me away. He claims I did this to embarrass him in front of everyone and has since refused to speak to me, and claims my children are not his grandchildren. He and my mother ended things after an affair and getting this woman pregnant when I was 3. He saw me on and off until I was almost 5. It was much less after that, and the last time I saw him I was 7, and the last time I spoke to him I was 8. He married this new woman, and she hated me, and hated that I existed, and existed before her and her children. She hates my family, his parents and siblings, because they chose me and to continue a relationship with me over her wishes. She got a lawyer in hopes that he wouldn't have to give my mother child support, and was pissed when she found out he had to add me to his health insurance. He came into my life shortly before I became engaged and was married. We saw each other for the first time at a cousin's wedding, but days before his wife called me and not so nicely demanded I not go to my cousin's wedding because they were going. His oldest son found out and told her and him off, and he demanded that he wanted to know his sister, and so they were at the wedding, and I met my siblings for the first time. The younger 3 didn't even know I existed, just the oldest did. We saw each other sometimes after that, he and I never forming a full-on relationship since this lady hated me so much. I asked nothing from him and demanded nothing. When I invited him and his family to my and my husband's wedding, I got no answer. I called and asked if they were coming, and he never could say yes or no. I went on and planned the wedding without his response, and I expected him not to come since he never came to any other of my life events. Never called on birthdays either, or sent cards or letters. He called me hours before the wedding, as I'm having my hair done, to say that yes, in fact, they are coming and are on the road. I was surprised, but happy. But what happened at the wedding stopped any relationship we were building up to. My stepdad has been my dad since I was 4. That man has done all the things a father is supposed to do and loved me like his own. He wasn't perfect, but no one is. So when I planned on who I would dance with, my decision came naturally. Some have asked, well, why didn't you dance half him and half your real dad? And I just reply that I didn't even know the man would be there until the afternoon of. I don't think I did anything wrong or offended him. My father does. Am I the idiot? Comment 1. Not the idiot. If you knew he was coming, you could have told him in advance what your plans were beforehand, so he would know in advance he wouldn't be walking you down the aisle, etc. So it's really his own fault he was offended. He's lucky there was even a seat meal, etc., for him at the wedding. I think it's very selfish of him. Did he think that you would just be walking down the aisle alone if you didn't show? He probably didn't consider any of this. Even if your stepmother acts in the way you described, he could still keep in touch with you regularly by text and phone call. Comment 2. Not the idiot. I would say, Dad, you feeling ashamed at not being in my wedding is not the same as me trying to shame you. You are welcome to be part of my life, but I barely know you yet. I understand you interpreted that as me shaming you for not being involved in my life until recently, and I can understand why someone would feel ashamed at behaving the way you have. However, my intention was to highlight the bond I have with my stepfather. Comment 3. Not the idiot. Blood doesn't make family. Family are the people who show up for you, and your dad has not shown up for you. It takes almost no work to get somebody pregnant. It's all of the stuff that comes after that determines if you are a good parent or not, and your stepdad stepped up and was a parent to you. Now, for the next story. I just got a job offer in a different state. My husband works in a fly-in, fly-out camp, so it will not affect his work. However, my new job adds nearly $30,000 a year more to our budget. My in-laws live in a different state already and make an effort to see our kids. However, we currently live 8 blocks from my parents, and they are losing it. They are saying that I'm a horrible son for moving their grandchildren away from them, that they have grandparents' rights and all that. I told them that I would be willing to change my family's plans so long as they made up the difference between what I currently earn and my new job. I was even willing to go net. I wasn't asking them for my gross earnings, just the after-tax difference. They said it was ridiculous to expect them to pay to see their grandchildren. I asked them if they thought that my in-laws didn't pay for their flights and stuff when they visited. They said that is different. I don't think it is. Just because my parents can walk to my house, they think that seeing the kids isn't an effort for everyone else. My siblings have been calling me to say I'm an idiot for demanding money from our parents to see the children. I offer to let them pay me the money. I will be losing if I don't take the new job. Then they figured out my parents didn't tell them the entire story. Now there is a big family fight because one of them has a job that may require him to move, and my brother will likely move after he completes his postgrad. I don't actually want my parents' money. I just want them to understand the money they are asking me to give up. Now here are the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot. It's not the 1950s anymore, and we don't have grandparents/parents/kids all living in the same household or even the same town anymore. With the modern economy, the nuclear family is now the norm and not the exception. You have a fantastic opportunity for a new job with much better pay. The only people that can make the decision on whether or not to pursue that opportunity are you and your spouse. If you decide that taking the job is the best thing to do, you do it. Simply tell your parents this is too good an opportunity to pass up. You understand that they are down because they won't be able to see the grandkids as often, but your door is always open for them when they want to visit. However, you need to take advantage of this opportunity so you can provide for your family in the best way possible. If they can't understand that, they are just being selfish, expecting you to tailor your lives around them instead of doing what's best for you and your children. Comment 2. Not the idiot. My mind is boggling that parents would really want their kid to give up a promotion that would make his life better so as not inconvenience them. I saw a study once that also boggled my mind. It was a survey-type study sent out to family households. It was a bunch of hypothetical questions, but this one stood out to me. If you had the power to choose, which of these would you select? Your child moves far away from you, but would be happy, or they live near you and be unhappy. 85% of the respondents chose for their child to live near them and be unhappy. The mind truly boggles. Comment 3. Here's how your parents are planning your life. 1. Turn down job improvement and stay near them too. They will live their normal life while you are making an insufficient salary. 3. Parents will die. 4. You never have the ability to bring your missed opportunities current. You will never recoup the lost wages, nor have the ability to improve your standard of living going forward, because you will be too old. See how that works? Now, for the next story. Our wedding is going to be in April, and I'm currently ordering the last details, including the wedding cake. I talked to a good friend about it, and she was offended that I thought about only ordering it big enough for my fiancé and me. My reasoning? I have multiple allergies, autoimmune diseases, including celiacs. Since I want to be able to eat my own wedding cake, it needs to be gluten-free, which is in and of itself much more expensive than a normal one. Also, some of our guests have various allergies ranging from lactose to nuts, so catering to all the allergies in one cake would be nearly impossible and definitely really expensive. So I thought, why not offer different sheet cakes that take into account the different allergies, one without nuts, one without milk, etc. And since we're having a buffet, all guests can freely choose what to get. The buffet will be monitored by the caterer to ensure no cross-contamination will happen. My friend says it would be a severe disregard of tradition to not serve everyone a slice of wedding cake. Since we have invited a number of people who are quite traditional in their thinking, I now wonder if she's right and if it would cause a problem. Now here are the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Any cake served at a wedding is wedding cake. I have been to weddings with just one cake, multi-tiered cakes, several sheet cakes, a separate small cake for the bride and groom, cupcakes, no cake, you name it. The only time I heard anyone say anything other than "this cake is really good" was the time there was no cake at all, even then. It was just a slightly disappointed comment about not getting cake. The rest of the wedding was great. If anyone gets hung up on the idea that there isn't just one massive cake for everyone, they were looking to find something to complain about. If it wasn't the cake, it would be the music, or the lighting, or the tablecloth, or that they are upset because they missed out on the irony of rain on your wedding day, or, well, you get the point. Do your thing, it sounds awesome. Comment 2. Not the idiot. My friends did something similar at their wedding. There were 8 single-tier cakes, 1 cake per guest table, and a total of 3 different kinds of cakes. One was full vegan, one was lactose-free, and others regular cakes. They told all the guests who had allergies or a special diet which cake was safe to eat. The cakes looked different, so no chance of confusing them. The bride and groom went to each table and cut open the first slice. Then, the guests cut the rest of the cake open and served themselves. I think it was a lovely idea and avoided big queues of people waiting in line for the cake. Everyone remained seated and waited for the bride and groom to come to their table. Comment 3. You are trying to accommodate as many allergies, sensitivities as possible by getting multiple cakes. How could that offend people? Also, tradition is just peer pressure from dead people. It's your wedding. Do whatever makes you happy and ignore everything else. P.S. Make sure you assign someone to deal with any issues on the day, so you are not bothered if anything crops up. Take it from someone who had the owners of the property interrupt their meal to inform me my sister was throwing up all over the women's bathroom. Now, for the next story. I, 44-year-old female, live with my husband, 47-year-old male. We have 2 adult children who don't live with us anymore. Ever since my mother-in-law, 83-year-old female, got weaker and older, she lives with us too. 2 years ago, my mother-in-law was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. She is under medical care, of course, but despite it, the disease is progressing quickly. Nowadays, my mother-in-law cannot stay at home alone, as she is a danger to herself and her surroundings. She almost burned the house down, twice, and there were also some other accidents. Fortunately, as of now, she didn't hurt herself seriously, but at this rate, the question is when it will happen, not if. Taking care of her is mostly my responsibility, as my husband has a very irregular schedule. And, because of the nature of his work, he often has to be on call and/or leave home at short notice. As for me, I usually work 8-10 hours a day, mostly from home, but sometimes I have to be in the office. After I finish work, I take care of the house and my mother-in-law. My husband helps me as much as possible, but quite often he can't be there for me. I'll be honest, I never was the caretaker type. I don't have enough patience. I don't like when other people depend on me. I am nervous when I suddenly have to adjust my plans. I cared about my children, obviously, and I like to believe that I was a decent mother, but honestly I have a much better connection with them, and, as bad as it sounds, love them more since they grew up and became more independent. The more my mother-in-law needs my help, the more impatient, exhausted, and burned out I become. I do my best to not show it, but the situation really wears me down, and I am well aware that with time she'll need even more attention and patience. Admittedly, given that I cannot always work from home and my mother-in-law can't be alone, I have constant problems at work, which upsets me, as I cherish my work and career. Given everything, I want to put my mother-in-law into a nursing home. Obviously, before I do so, I'll research and choose one with a good reputation and qualified staff. My husband has mixed feelings about it, which is understandable as she is his mother, but he says that given that I'm the one mostly taking care of her, the final decision is mine to make. The problem is, my husband's siblings are raising hell, calling me and my husband, but mostly me, cruel and undependable. They say I should just hire a nurse or something. I don't want to let a stranger into my house. And I don't want to be a caretaker at all. And in this configuration, I'd still have to take care of my mother-in-law after work. We, my husband and I, offered them that we'll pay them for either taking her to live with one of them or for taking care of her at our place. But they weren't interested, citing that it's too much responsibility and they have their own lives. But that's exactly why I considered the nursing home in the first place. Am I the idiot? If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.